All right, we're gonna try this one more time. We're gonna do one more video for tonight. This is a reaction video to a video that Scottejaye has done on things that you still need to do for Wrath of the Lich King. Again, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I still have to level up my main. I still have to get all my professions done on my main and a couple of my alts. And swapping professions included as well. Like I've got to swap to engineering and stuff like that. Stuff that I didn't have before. So, and I've still got to farm a ton of gold. I've got about 25,000 gold right now, but after I pay for the professions, I'm going to have like, maybe 15,000. So I need to farm a bunch more gold as well. But these are suggestions that he's making that you still need to do for Wrath of the Lich King. So let's watch it. And again, like every other video, if you have any comments while watching this on live stream, just make them. I will be pausing them throughout the video and stuff like that. And for those of you watching on YouTube, if you like the video, please do me a favor and like and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And you can talk to me anytime about this or any other content. I do stream live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Alodar 6 nights a week, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. That would be Tuesday to Sundays.
Every video you look at telling you about things to do before Wrath of the Lich King, or even Wowhead posts, all say the same sort of thing.
Time?
Get professions done, get loads of gold to buy stuff in Wrath, get your alts ready, and whatever load of generic boring things you can think of. Well, that ain't going to be this video. So when it comes to things to do before Wrath of the Lich King actually launches, firstly and probably most importantly to be sure to get done is your professions on all your characters, because using them now to make gold ready for Wrath of the Lich King to get your Dark Moon card greatness is going to be really important. That leads me nicely onto the second point. Getting loads of gold. I'm joking. Generic, boring, I know. Let's get into the real things. So firstly, we're going to start with PvP, which is one that we don't talk about on the channel that much, and mainly because it's not something I do on a regular basis, but capping your honor is going to be really important. So going in with the honor cap should absolutely be possible. In the transition from TBC to Wrath of the Lich King in 2008, the honor was not reset, and there's plenty of blue posts like this one stating that it wasn't reset and there was no plans to reset it. And part of this is to do with the amount of cost involved in the items. So for example, for a 200 pair of Hateful Wrists, it's 31,600 honor for one item. If you was to go for the belt, it's almost 50,000. So you're never going to be able to get more than one free item from your...
With everything else that I've got to do, I just honestly don't know that I have time to cap my honor. I don't even know what it is on my mage. It's my 70 mage that I plan on doing a lot of PvP with. So
honor anyway. And yes, the amount of honor you actually get in Battlegrounds is quite high in Wrath of the Lich King to make up for these very, very high cost items. But you got to remember the high cost items like these are only high cost because they require no arena rating or no nothing. You can just buy them with flat out honor. And to show you what I mean by that, if you look at like the Hateful Gladiator Wormhide Spaulders, you can buy them for 31,600 honor, or they're a lot cheaper, being only 9,600 honor if you put some arena points in with it as well. There is also the option to buy with Emblems of Valor. So there's lots of ways to get this PvP gear, but going in with the honor cap will ensure that you can at least get one item. And the honor cap's 75k, by the way. But you might not want to get 75, you might want to just get 50k because you got your eyes on...
Oh my god, my mage is on my other account. I could actually sit there and farm that honor while I'm leveling.
One item that you're going to want quickly in Wrath of the Lich King, so just getting 50k might be enough for you. And the next thing, start stacking consumables that you ordinarily don't use for raiding, but they will come in useful for leveling in Wrath. So things like health pots, if all you use are super mana pots or haste pots or whatever sort of pots you use, but you don't use health pots regularly because all you're using is Warlock stones, then stacking up on health pots is just going to reduce downtime when you're leveling. So if you're engineering, getting injectors would be even better, obviously. And even swiftness pots, having a big stack of swiftness pots and using them on cooldown while you're running around killing mobs, questing, whatever you're doing, absolutely worthwhile. And picking them up now while they're cheap, again, will be worthwhile, because as we get closer to Wrath and more people start thinking about doing these things, they're only going to go up in price. Now, I said we wasn't going to talk about things boring that's covered everywhere else like professions, but one thing I'm not seeing a lot of people talk about is the fact that your profession bonuses in Wrath of the Lich King start at 400. So things like the extra sockets for blacksmithing, the shoulder enchant from inscription, the big gems for jewel crafting, the procs on your cloak for tailoring, your engineering gloves and rocket boosts and things like that. All of those good things that we're going to get in Wrath come at around 400 skill.
Is anyone in chat not going engineering for their character? Is there anyone in chat that for their main, they're not going engineering?
Level. Now, if you use Atlas loot, which is probably the easiest way to do it in game, and let's say you're an alchemist, having a look at what skill you can get to with the TBC crafting recipes is key, because some of these don't cost a lot. You know, if you was to think about making Flask of Relentless Assaults, for example, let's say you was planning on using those whilst you're leveling as a rogue and maybe your alchemy. This is just an example. Rather than stacking up on the flasks themselves, you can stack up on the mats, Fel Lotus, Mana Thistle, Terracone, and imbued vials. Stack up on enough mats to make them whilst you're leveling, while you've got downtime. You're sat at a boat, or you're in Dalaran, or you're doing whatever you're doing, because these will go yellow at 390 and they go green at 397. So if you was to make these until 397, you only actually need 3 points from the new materials in Northrend before you actually get your big profession bonus for most of the professions. You could do the same thing with blacksmithing, making Dawn Steel bracers, for example, or Swift Steel bracers, or any of these where you can see that they don't go green until 3.
I'm gonna for mining and herbalism. I'm gonna just use my druid. My druid's just gonna be flying around and picking all that shit.
9.5. Don't get me wrong, some classes are going to be far more expensive than others. Like, I personally am doing engineering and enchanting this way, so I plan on getting 390 enchanting and engineering, basically before even worrying about any Northrend materials, which is going to not just cut down on cost, but it's going to cut down on time, and I'm going to get that profession bonus quicker, which is going to actually assist me in leveling faster. Definitely one worth thinking about. And as I say, looking at Atlas loot is probably the easiest way to do it. One more minor thing about professions, but getting herbs to max a scribe is going to be important. You probably aren't even considering this because you might not want inscription, but trust me, playing the let's see if I can craft the nobles card game will not only make you some gold, but benefit your guild or even your main if you need a Darkmoon card greatness. So looking on any profession website and getting a rough idea on the mats that you're actually going to need, having them all stockpiled now, and then in the pre-patch, just one of your alts, just get maxed inscription, and then even looking at Atlas loot again once inscription's added to it during TBC, and getting it to 390. You know, you want to get to making the Darkmoon cards as quick as physically possible, and then if you've got a bit of downtime or you're bored, or, you know, you want to fly around, get some herbs, or even you've got guys in the guild that are farming herbs and you can be one of them that's milling the herbs to make the Darkmoon cards. Just really briefly, because this isn't about inscription, but basically to get the Darkmoon cards, you mill herbs, you know, you mill 5 herbs at a time, so a stack you'll get 4 mills, you create inks out of those, and then you create a Darkmoon card, and you're hoping to get a nobles. The nobles deck is what turns into the Darkmoon card greatness. Some of you will be bothered about achievements and some of you won't. If you are bothered about achievements, getting some of the boring ones out of the way now while there's limited things to do will be ideal. So things like Lawmaster and the Explorer, they're a prime example. They're time consuming, and the odds of you wanting to go back and spend that much time.
I'll be honest, I wish I'd thought about this earlier, because I probably would have gone back to try and actually do some of these.
In the old zones when Northrend's there waiting for you to explore is very unlikely. Even reputations in getting mounts or getting exalted achievements, whatever, they're all worth working on now to save time in Wrath, because you're going to have lots and lots of things to do in Wrath. If this is something you're looking at doing, I'd heavily recommend the add-on All the Things Classic. So that's ATT Classic. You can filter by zone, so you can just look at Kalimdor. You can then go to Ashenvale, for example.
Like, there's
see
no way
what
I can get
achievements in
through all this
Ashenvale
now.
you've not done. So I've not on this character done Explore Ashenvale. You can look at the exact points that you haven't explored, and it even gives you the coordinates. You can then look at the quests that you haven't done, and again, it gives you the coordinates and a little brief introduction into what you're meant to be doing. So it's a very, very, very useful tool for doing the Explorer and Lawmaster now. And as I say, if you're just
switching mains, like, there's
like
no way I'm going to go back and do all this shit.
Doing nothing. Why not go and start on some of these achievements? Because you might later on down the line be like, oh, I actually wish I'd done that, because now I've got to waste 30, 40 hours, you know, during Wrath when I could be raiding or leveling an alt to go back and do this. And I know this one gets mentioned everywhere, but it gets mentioned for a reason.
What?
Getting your Armani Warbear from the ZA timed run is going to be important. It's only going to be important if you're bothered about uncollectible items going forward. So this is going to be something that you can't obtain, or you shouldn't be able to obtain. It should be removed with Wrath of the Lich King. So you can still do a timed run, but you just can't get the mount anymore. And this, obtaining the mount, becomes a feat of strength. We've got to remember it's classic. So I don't want to say you definitely need to go and get it, because they could easily turn around and say, well, no, we'll just leave it in. You know, they've done crazy things over the last few years.
That's crazy.
Leaving this in wouldn't surprise me at all. Same thing like with Hand of a Dow.
I don't think I know anyone that does not have the Armani Warbearer. Is there anyone that's playing that still doesn't have this thing? Like, we've had to, like, basically not even take it. And lately we've started focusing on running, like, those of us that are swapping mains, we've been focusing on getting them into Sunwell and stuff like that. Like, we brought basically fresh 70s to Sunwell to basically start gearing them up super fast. And we've taken them through and gotten their war baron and stuff like that already. So
Champion of the Naru, you know, they should be removed as well once we go into Wrath of the Lich King. But it wouldn't even surprise me if they got left in. But we need to err on the side of caution and say they should be removed. So things like getting your Hand of a Dao title and Champion of the Naru and getting the Armani Warbear, of course, go and do them because they then become unobtainable anymore. But who knows? They could quite easily still be in the game. Another one to consider is things like Illusion Dust, Small Brilliant Shards for the 100 health on chest. You will be able to put these onto a scroll and sell them on the auction house, of course. You can get the Major Mana as well, which is 3 Greater Eternal Essence and a Small Brilliant Shard for 100 mana on chest. Things like Crusader, so Righteous Orbs, Large Brilliant Shards, Life Stealing for 6 Large Brilliant Shards, Essence of Undeath and Living Essence, Enchant Weapon Spell Power, which is quite a pricey one, but people are going to be buying them. And why? Heirlooms. If you can start farming some of these mats now, especially if you're an enchanter, so you can then just bang them on scrolls when the scrolls come in the game and put them on the auction house, the people who are getting their heirloom weapons, they're going to want good enchants to go on their heirloom weapons. Same goes if you're an engineer making scopes. Make the good scopes that don't have a level requirement for the item, because that's important. You can't just go putting mongoose on these weapons and stuff like that and get them on the auction house. But stocking up on these sort of mats now so you can at least get them enchanted for cheap or sell the mats and make a lot of gold. They're things that are well worth getting ready now. Thinking about, right, first heirloom bits I'm going to get is leather chest. Let's get 100 elf on it. You know, I'm going to get, I don't know, the 2 one-handed maces or something like that, you know, and you're going to want Crusader on them both. Go in strat. Get the orbs and things like that, because at the moment, while people are not thinking about it, they'll be cheap. You might even just be able to buy them off the auction house really cheap. Come, I don't know, week 3, week 4 of Wrath of the Lich King, all of this stuff is just going to spike. And that's about it, really. I was going to include all the pre-patch bits as well, because I've got a lot of really good, useful things about the pre-patch, which, trust me, until you hear them, you'll be like, oh, wow, yeah, I didn't know that. But they're things that can just give you a little bit of an edge, I suppose, or things that, you know, no one's talking about. Particularly if you're Horde, there's a lot more Horde things in the pre-patch than there is Alliance, which will make sense. But I'm going to do that in a separate video. I'm going to literally record it now, so I'm guessing that this will go out the next day. The pre-patch one will go out the day after this. This will be things to do in Wrath. The next one will be things to do in the pre-patch. Maybe I should call it like minor things to do in the pre-patch, because they're not massive. But anyway, like and subscribe, roll the outro.
How many of you guys are going to be doing stuff like flasking and stuff like that when you're leveling? Like little things like that to speed up. Like he was talking about, like using speed pots and stuff like that. But I'm going to assume that you can actually flask, if you're dungeon grinding and stuff like that, right? So, I haven't heard anywhere that you can't. Fred Meister, thanks for the follow, dude. Overall, good video. I don't know that I'm leveling an inscriber, so that really doesn't affect me, to be honest. What were some of the other things that he talked about here? Leveling up your professions to to 390. That's a really good suggestion, actually. Your honor, I guess what you could do is level your honor up enough just to get your 1 piece right away. I mean, that's a lot of honor, but I mean, I've got another account. I can just do it in Aldrich Valley or something like that, right? Like while I'm leveling and gearing this character up, I suppose. But I kind of frown upon people that are AFKing and stuff like this. This stuff, I just simply don't have enough time. Like all the things, it's 2 weeks away from pre-patch. I don't have enough time to go back and do all this stuff. There's just no way that I think I could even make much of a dent in this stuff, to be honest. We'll have to kind of, once I get to 70, and if I've got any free time, I'm probably going to be trying to farm gold. So I don't really have a lot of time to go back and do this stuff. I think it's a little too late for me, especially since I'm swapping mains. If I was playing my my undead mage instead, then maybe I might have time to go back and do this sort of stuff, but not on my I just don't think I have time on my fresh character to go back and do all this stuff. Will glyphs be cheap or expensive? At the beginning, they're going to be expensive. At the beginning, they'll be very expensive. So, anyways, good video. I'm looking forward to seeing the one that he talked about for pre-patch, because there's a lot of things that you can be doing in pre-patch and stuff like that as well. But overall, if you haven't done this already, I would strongly advise that you get your professions on your main and your your alts leveled up, your gathering professions, that sort of stuff. Definitely get your engineering and that sort of stuff up right now. In fact, I haven't even started leveling it on this character. I've got to do that like as soon as I hit level 70. I've got to do that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, lots of stuff that people are going to have to do before Wrath of the Lich King. Everybody right now, everybody that is taking Wrath kind of seriously is probably frantically running around going, damn it, I have a ton of stuff to do. So anyways, that's it for this video. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Join me on twitch.tv/Alodar 6 nights a week, Tuesday through Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We talk about anything World of Warcraft or any other games as well. Ashes of Creation, anything nerdy. Game of Thrones we're getting excited for. Anyways, come chat with me there. I'll talk to you guys soon in the next video. Take care.